It's the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com for Sunday, October 4th, Judd Spinster Day. I'm Tom Leach, along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Simulcasting. And we're going to take a look at the two graded stakes races on the Sunday card, the Spinster, the Dixiana Bourbon, and then the glance at the late pick 4 as well. So, Jim, let's start out with the 8th race, which is the Grade 3 Dixiana Bourbon for 2-year-olds going a mile and a 16th on the turf course, which still figures to be a little bit soggy by the time this one rolls around. Who did you like?
Well, I hope it dries out a little bit. It's going to be soggy on Saturday while we're taping this, but this is a tough race. And anytime you take 2-year-olds and put them on the turf, and it's I try to look back at the horses that have run against quality competition. I settled on I liked Unbridled Daddy, the 5-horse. Third in the With Anticipation, the Grade 2 race at Saratoga behind Azar. But I didn't really, that race didn't really thrill me. And I took a look, I went to almost a newcomer, Siding Spring with Mark Cassie, simply because that Kentucky Downs race on September 14th was very impressive. He got off to not a great start. He was 6.5 lengths out of it at the first call, won by 6 going away. And it's tough to run that course down there and win a mile race by 6 lengths. And Siding Spring loves Kentucky Downs, and I'm going to assume that he's just a nice horse for Cassie, and he can get those 2-year-olds ready. So I'm going to take Siding Spring here at a nice little price of 8-1 morning line. I would use Unbridled Daddy behind him. I would use Hot, can't read my writing here, Hot Or, the 11-horse. The California Invader just missed at Del Mar on September 5th, and we had a California Invader win yesterday here when Doug O'Neill shipped here. So you always look at those horses that ran well out on the West Coast, and then had a 79 buyer in that Del Mar Juvenile Turf. Camelot Kitten, the 9, Brown, Ortiz, and Ramsey, you can't throw him out. And Don't Be So Salty, the 10-horse for Robbie Alvarado, won a couple yesterday, and I always like Presque Isle shippers. And this horse got an 87 buyer at Presque Isle last out, which is a very salty buyer, to forgive the pun there, for Don't Be So Salty. So I would throw him in as well, but Siding Spring would be my choice, the 8-horse, and I would use those 4 horses behind him in the trifecta, and key maybe a few more in the third spot.
I'm going to make a little bit of a reach here and go for Salislaw the 2, and the reason is horses with Dynaformer in their bloodlines seem to love this turf course, and this horse is out of a Dynaformer mare, and certainly should have the pedigree with the Dynaformer bloodline in there. Horse also drops out of a Grade 1 and that's his turf debut, which I don't like, but McLaughlin's obviously a sharp trainer, so I'm going to try the 2, Salislaw. I think this looks like a horse maybe that they probably thought all along his future was going to be on grass, just won the debut, so they took a shot at the Grade 1 on dirt. But Salislaw is going to be my pick, but I would want to spread out in here. I like the ones you mentioned, Camelot Kitten, Siding Spring, Unbridled Daddy, Sight Read. I'd also take a look at. This is a really well-matched group here that you'll want to spread out as best you can. The 9th race is the Grade 1 Spinster, and this is a race that's, you've got the Kentucky Oaks champion of the last 2 years matching up in here, and Lovely Maria and Untappable. Lovely Maria won the Ashland back in the spring, so she's trying to go for a unique double here. Where did you go in the Spinster?
Yeah, it's hard to pick against the 2 Kentucky Oaks winners. I think it's the first time it's happened in 15 years, but I did. Untappable just doesn't seem to be quite what she was. She's close, but she's not what she was last year. And Lovely Maria really threw in a couple of clunkers at Delaware and in the Alabama at Saratoga. I don't know what's gone wrong with her. She seemed to be training well with I'm a Chatterbox, and Larry maybe getting her back here where she won the Ashland might wake her up, but she hasn't run that well the last couple times out. Didn't like 1.25 miles, I don't think, at Saratoga, so she shortens back up to 1.1 miles, which is the distance that she won the Oaks at. So you got to take Lovely Maria as a chance, and you think I'm tappable because of back class, but I'm going to stick with Got Lucky for Todd Pletcher, who just lost to Sheer Drama, a very, very nice filly in the Personal Incident, and Untappable ran behind those 2. And I think it sets up well for Got Lucky with a little bit of speed in here, and she's drawn perfectly with a 4-hole, and I read Ortiz seems to fit her pretty well. The horse other than the 3 favorites, the horse that I think has a shot at price is Yahilwa. And I look back at the Clement Hirsch at Del Mar, and although she lost by 7 lengths, look who she lost to. She lost to Beholder by 7 lengths. So she was much the best in that race. She was 4 1/4 clear of the third place horse. So you throw out Beholder in there, and she ran a nice race. And I think at 15-1, she's got a chance to jump up here. She's run with good company all over the place at Hawthorne, Pimlico, Churchill, and Del Mar. So she takes her race wherever she goes. Consistent mare, and may just jump up for a piece of the exact or the try here. I would take Got Lucky on top with Lovely Maria, Untappable, and Yahilwa.
I did not have a strong opinion here. I started to go for Got Lucky, and then I talked to Larry Jones on Friday, and that kind of helped push me in the direction of Lovely Maria, and this interview's up on the Keeneland YouTube channel. He talked about how Lovely Maria was sick for the race at Delaware. They found out after the race, and then he just didn't think she liked the 1 1/4 of the Alabama, and he said she loved training lights out. So I'm going to give her a shot to say that she'll bounce back, being at her favorite track, perhaps. I'm going to take the 1 Lovely Maria and use her with Got Lucky and also with Untappable in the Grade 1 Juddmonte Spinster, and I would use all 3 of those, and I will use all 3 of those in my pick 4. So let's get to the pick 4. In the 7th race, it starts with a 2-year-old filly maiden race. Mark Casse got off to a great start with a couple of wins on Friday. I like his horse, Conquest Tis One, in there, the 4 horse. I would also try to spread out and use the 3, the 5, the 9, and the 11. Then in the Dixiana Bourbon, I'm going to use Salislaw, the 2, along with the 4, 5, and 9. I'm going to leave out Siding Spring. But if you have enough funds, you could add Siding Spring to increase your ticket a little bit. I'll use the 3 that I mentioned in the Spinster, and then with spreading so much in those 3 races, I've got a single to keep the ticket affordable for $50. Try to shoot to be under $50 for a 50-cent ticket. So I'm going to single the 9 Miss Blossom in the 10th race. So 5 by 4 by 3 by 1 on my pick 4 ticket. How about you?
I want to single the 10th as well, but I'm singling a different horse. So my pick 4 is in the 7th race. I would go 6 deep with Cinder the 2, Sound Defense the 3, Conquest Tis One the 4, Malibu Stacy the 6, a first-timer for George Weaver, the 9 horse Town Tart for Asmussen, and the 11, a first-timer for Graham Motion called Well Acquainted. So I would go 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 11. In the Dixiana Bourbon, I would go 5 deep with Unbridled Daddy the 5, Siding Spring the 8, Camelon Kitten the 9, Don't Be Salty the 10, and Hot Ore the 11. In the Spinster, I would go 4 deep. I would use Lovely Maria the 1, Untappable 3, Got Lucky the 4, and throw in Yahilwa the 6 just in case I do get that price. And I'm going to single the 6 horse in the last race, Wallflower, for Dane Kabisky. Horse is dropping out of maiden special weight, and the numbers look much better than anybody else in here. Your horse, the 9, has only been out 1 time for Canelli, so she is probably the main competition. I hate to single a $30,000 claiming race, but this one looks pretty weak, and I think the consistency of Wallflower here might be a good anchor for the pick 4. That's a $60 ticket going 6 by 5 by 4 by single.
Best of luck on your Sunday wagers as we continue with a sensational Fall Stars weekend at Keeneland. This is the End of the Money Podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.